Most people think there's only one kind of body fat, and it's the bad body fat. Well, I'm here to tell you there's actually two different kinds, and it's important that you know the difference. And in this video, I'm going to explain which fat is the good fat, which fat is the bad fat, and how you can help your body get more of the good fat and less of the bad fat. So it comes down to the fact that we have white fat and brown fat. Maybe you've heard of this before. See, what white fat is essentially the stored body fat that doesn't do us much good. It's the quote-unquote bad fat, meaning it's just stored around our body and doesn't have much use other than to provide energy when we are in a time of starvation or calorie deprivation. It doesn't do us a whole lot of good. Then we have brown fat. Brown fat is the fat that you want. It's essentially the good kind of fat. And it plays a big part in what's called thermogenesis, which is how your body generates body heat. And if you know calories, you know metabolism, when your body creates body heat, you burn more calories. So the way that brown fat does this is it stimulates thermogenesis from food. So when you actually eat food and your body warms up to digest, brown fat plays a huge role in that, not white fat. So if you think about it, the more brown fat that you have, the more your body temperature can elevate and the more fat you can potentially burn. Now additionally, brown fat has some other components too. You see, like when you're cold and your body needs to generate body heat and it can't just shiver, brown fat is responsible for elevating the core body temperature. So if you were to go out into the cold, that's essentially what's happening. That brown fat is keeping you warm. And that thermogenesis can cascade your body to burn more fat. So yes, in essence, having more of the good fat, the brown fat, can actually help your body burn more fat. And the way that it actually does this is pretty interesting. I'm going to get a little bit sciencey for a second, but it's going to make sense. It has to do with the mitochondrial uncoupling of proteins. That's a fancy way of saying it's unlocking your mitochondria's ability to use fat more efficiently. So in essence, it's making you burn more fat by using the right fat as a catalyst. Now here's the thing. Sometimes our genes will dictate whether or not we have more white fat or whether or not we have more brown fat. So what are some things that we can do? How can we help our body use more of the brown fat and less of the white fat? Well, there's a lot of things that you can initially start to do, like change your diet, exercise a lot, and honestly expose yourself to extreme cold because that enhances the effect of brown fat. But I don't think a lot of us want to stand out in sub-zero temperatures just to help our body generate more brown fat. And although you can't 100% migrate white fat over to brown fat, you can start the process. You see, adipocytes, which is just a fancy way of saying fat cells, can be transformed into a different version, but not all the way. So in essence, you can start to add brown fat cells or beige fat cells into white fat cells, essentially slowly migrating them over to a more usable brown fat version. But one thing that I've found extremely interesting lately is the science that is starting to show that turmeric and curcumin has an effect on migrating those white fat cells over to beige and brown fat cells. We all know that turmeric is powerful. We know it's powerful for its regulation of inflammation. We know it's powerful because it can help us utilize carbs more effectively so we don't store fat from carbs. But the fact that we're learning that curcumin and turmeric can slowly start to make white fat cells become brown fat cells and become more effective at helping our bodies burn fat is just downright amazing. There was a 2015 study by the Biophysical Communications Research Journal that found that supplementing curcumin had an increase in cold tolerance and carb utilization. Okay, that doesn't directly say that there is an increase in brown fat, but the fact that cold tolerance increased means that the brown fat more than likely was increased. Now this one's going to blow your mind. There was a study in 2016 by the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry that found that supplementing turmeric and curcumin had an increase in gene expression for brown fat. What does that mean? That means that we could actually be changing how our bodies see fat so that we can potentially start having more brown fat all the way down at the genetic level. Now, you can't just take a regular turmeric, okay? You can't just take turmeric and hope that it's going to cause this effect simply because we don't always absorb the turmeric we're getting in. That's why it's extremely important that you get a liposomal form, especially when we're dealing with fats as is. You see, what liposomal means is that the turmeric is going to bind to phospholipids in your digestive system so that you can absorb more. You see, our digestive system is extremely volatile, and if we just consume regular turmeric, we may not absorb it. And we want to make sure that we're migrating our fat cells and using that properly so we can get that brown fat. So that's why PuraTHRIVE has a liposomal form of turmeric that gets sustained release throughout your digestive system and can increase the absorption so that your body can utilize it better so that you can get the most out of your body and the most out of your life. So if you click on the link, you can check out PuraTHRIVE's liposomal form of turmeric that may very well help regulate the transformation of white fat cells into those usable beige fat cells. I'll see you on the next page, and I look forward to helping you get the most out of your life.